Hello everybody, and this is my new Caridina soft water shrimp tank. What kind of Caridina? I'm still not sure, but I think at this point I'm starting to lean towards shadow pandas. And I wasn't sure how much it would help with the hard water versus soft water thing, but I did a filter squeeze, and so there's already seed shrimp living in here. This substrate, I tested it, puts off no ammonia, and I've been ghost feeding just a teeny tiny bit. And I think what I'm going to do is we're going to put substrate in here. Now, normally, if it was a Neo tank, I would just throw in like 15, 20 of my own shrimp, feed it real lightly for a month or two, and then throw in a bunch of shrimp. But, this is my first Caridina, first soft water tank. And so I want to make sure we are fully established and cycled. So I think what I'm going to do, we're going to plant this tank up. We're going to add the substrate, plant it up. And I do have a lid. That's something new that I don't have on my other tanks because I'm really concerned about limiting evaporation and all that. And my handle, I broke it. It was my fault. But my wife says, hey, I got these things. And it's one of those things you can just pull this thing and the sticky stuff releases. So that's cool. I ordered a replacement, but it's going to take like 3 weeks to get here. So that's why there is a hook for the handle. Well, so I thought it'd be smart and make a time lapse of me putting in this substrate, and it turned out I am filming myself making my biggest mistake I've made on this tank that I know of yet. So as you can see, look at all that dust. Look how good my filter does sucking all that dust up. Well, it turns out every bag of this stuff was adding like 50 to 70 TDS to my water. So after I did this first bag, after I did the first bag, my TDS was somewhere around 180, and the water I was making was anywhere between like 110 and 125. So all the rest of it come from this ISTA pH 5.5 substrate. Well, after I put this in, my TDS got all the way up to over 250. So I did a bunch of water changes and all that fun stuff. And I was pretty frustrated. So yesterday, after I've done this video, this time lapse, it was like a span of like 5 days. So now I've ended up becoming a pro at mixing water. I did something like 10% water changes. That got it down to like 180. And then I did like a 90% water change. And then last night, after doing that, I got it down to something. It was 134. So this stuff, that ISTA pH 5.5, you gotta rinse it really good. All that dust and stuff adds TDS. I never did test exactly what the TDS was, but it adds a bunch of TDS to your water for sure. So you gotta soak it. It gives off a whole bunch at first. And so over the course, draining it down and filling it back up and mixing water, and spent a lot of time in here being mad at this tank over the substrate leaking TDS everywhere. I did some aquascaping. Now, the plants I'm going with, right here we have mermaid weed. Now, I have mermaid weed and it does pretty good for me in my hard water tanks. And everything I can find about it says it actually prefers soft water. So I figured it would be a good candidate. And I've sold moss to so many people, and everyone says it does just as good in soft water as it does hard water, which I don't know. It looks like it's doing pretty good. This part right here was really brown when I put it in here, and it's already greening up. So maybe it'll do good in here too, and lava rock. I use lava rock because I know lava rock is inert. And I didn't want to put any other kind of rock in here and it leak stuff into the water we don't want for our shrimpy friends. And you may notice we've got some friends in here. These are just guppies I picked out of my guppy pond. Most of them are the line I'm creating, the ones I pulled out, the Japan blue red mosaic crosses. A couple of those guys look pretty good. Pretty good. Cool guppies. But those are going to be my cycle buddies. I'm just going to feed it and let it do its things, and the guppies can clean up the food I throw in so it don't just sit in there and rot. And we'll give it 2-3 months, however long it needs to become fully established. And I was doing some reading up in the low pH type of setting. And ammonia now is for like fish farm data. So it's like for trout and perch fingerlings or whatever. Like ammonia is not even lethal all the way up to like 5 or 6 parts per million at pHs of 6 and below. So while the ISTA did irk me but I guess rinsing it off or soaking it could have done just as good. And then in here in the rocks, I'm trying something new. I don't know how it'll work in a shrimp tank, but red Tiger Lotus. I got 3 bulbs from Aquarium Co-op, and it was really. I thought I was just getting some bulbs in like an envelope or something, but they come like in a pot and leaves sprouted, and oh wow, cool. But you can see, I think it'll look cool. It'll be because those get big and they have red leaves when they have good light, and I'd say this is pretty good light. So right here, so this will all be red, and we'll have moss going back to the distance, and then that'll be background in the corner. Let the mermaid weed get big. I think it'll look good. It might take it some months, but I think we'll have a pretty good shrimp tank in here eventually. So hopefully this will probably be the last time you see this tank in a video until we add shrimp. That might be a month or two, might be 3 or 4 months. I don't know. But when it's ready, it's ready. I'm not going to rush it. So there you have it. It's set up. I think it's good. Let's do a test. I said it was 134 last night after I did a 90% water change. Now I bet it's still creeping up, but like it initially would go up like 50 or 60, just like boom, just all right, it's in. The TDS just went up 50, and then it'd go up like another like 5 or 6 next couple days. So this substrate's all been in here for 5 days now. This is the 5th day that I added in the substrate. So hopefully it's done leaking it out. Let's see. All right. Yeah, I got my lid on backwards because I like to have the big space open. What do we got here? Yeah, 143. It's still creeping up. Hopefully, I'm probably going to end up having to do a big 142. See if sometimes it'll read different. 142. 142. 142 it is. So it's gone up some already. We'll see. Oh my God. This is going to be a never ending battle with this stuff. We shall see. We shall see. I'm not doing another big water change on this thing again until. Now, the good news is the pH was between 6 and 5.5 before I did the big water change. I haven't tested that, and it wouldn't be fair to test it now after doing such a big water change yesterday. So we're just going to let this thing ride out, and when it's safe and good and I got everything figured out and I'm adding shrimp, Probably sometime late spring, maybe even summer sometime. So this will be it. The shrimp tank with no shrimp. The last time we'll talk about that for a while. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.